Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks, John. It's great to be here. I've had the pleasure of knowing John for a long time as an East Bay native and someone who grew up in the East Bay. And John is someone who I looked up to. So if the voters of Walnut Creek are frustrated with my leadership on the city council, they can blame in part John Coleman for helping be an inspiration for me to get into elective office. But it's great to be here for this session as well. This is another outstanding event of the Bay Planning Coalition, another very informative workshop, and I'm glad to be part of it. I am very proud to have been newly appointed by Governor Brown to lead his Office of Business and Economic Development. It's a great post to be at a wonderful time in California's history. And it's nice for me to be able to blend my background in business and as a public policymaker, because as the wonderful speakers have already said today, and you'll continue to hear a theme in this session and going forward, that the collaboration and the synergy between public policy pursuits and issues and the involvement of the business community, it's vital. Public-private partnerships are really the only way that these large challenges, both public issues and growing our economy, are going to happen. And certainly the topic of today, looking at issues of energy and water, those are massive issues in our state and nationally and globally. And it's going to take a collaborative effort and some long-term strategic thinking about how these different major sectors of our society can come together in partnership to work through these issues. And certainly that's how Governor Brown sees it. And when he took office back in 2010, he made growing California's economy, improving California's business climate, and growing jobs, those are his top priorities. And that's what he's working on, and that's what his focus has been. And our office, I'll take just a minute to talk about what we're doing and then bring it back to some connectivity to what you all are discussing this morning. But Governor Brown looked around within the administration, within the state government, and saw that there were a number of functions inside the state government that relate to business climate, relate to job creation and economic growth, but they were somewhat scattered across a variety of departments within the state government. And the governor immediately felt that reorganization and realignment was necessary to create the right level of focus and to put the right resources and align those resources with that mission of driving for robust economic growth. So he assembled a number of functions and has put them under one roof, put them under his Office of Business and Economic Development, and he has put more resources and more people in place to lead that effort. He's prioritized our functions within his administration. So as we now relate to other departments within the state government, it is clear from the governor that looking at the economic implications, the business climate implications, and the job creation implications of everything that's happening in the state government have to be very seriously considered. So that leadership and that tone that Governor Brown is setting within the administration is obviously very important. My office does not make policy around water. We don't make policy around energy. But we will have a voice in policy that happens from the administration going forward. We will be contributing a point of view about what are indeed the economic implications of those policy decisions. And I think having that voice and that opportunity to contribute to the conversation should, at least it's certainly our intent, that it will have a major impact on California's economy going forward. There's no doubt that we have economic challenges in the state, as that's true across the country and across the world. But I am also here to say that things in California are looking brighter and are moving in the right direction. I want to say that in the last 12 months, California has actually created more private sector jobs than any other state in the country, or we're neck and neck with Texas. We're checking their numbers because we think we're number one. And we have been. If you go back to the real depths of the recession, California is indeed leading the nation in private sector job creation. You go back to 2010, we're talking about over 500,000 private sector jobs that have been created in California. It's about 275,000 jobs that have been created in California in the last 12 months, and that's across a wide variety of sectors. We have such a rich and diverse economy in California, and those sectors are growing, and it's the trajectory is good. Major things like construction, for instance, were up 6% over last year, and other important sectors, and certainly ones that we want to grow. We want to see manufacturing grow. We want to see agriculture grow. We want to see our exports grow. And we're working on all of those things. But we're growing at a rate that's faster than the national average. We continue to see other leading economic indicators, like where venture capital wants to invest, where other investments are coming from overseas. You look at a variety of economic indicators, and California is strong. We see that business wants to be here and business wants to grow here. And that's good. And our office is now about wanting to continue to enable that growth and that positive trajectory, and that's what we're here to do. But the California story is one that's very optimistic and one that has tremendous potential, and Governor Brown believes in that very much, and that's why our office is bringing the enthusiasm and the energy to help make that happen. And as it relates to issues of water and energy, I definitely want to associate myself with some of the remarks by one of the panelists that said that one of the things that California is doing exceedingly well is applying technology to issues of energy and water conservation and optimization, right? Driving efficiency in those sectors is incredibly important. And one of the things that's vital to our office, one of our key areas of focus, is indeed in innovation and the proliferation of new technologies that leads to new industries, that creates jobs, but also helps work on public problems that are very important. And it's very important for me personally. I worked in the mobile phone business for a long time and worked in the Silicon Valley and was in the middle of that cauldron of amazing innovation and creativity and how that technology translates into transformative technologies and new industries, and also addressing important public issues. So I grew up in my career in that type of atmosphere, and that's certainly true in telecommunications, but it's true in transportation, it's true in health, and it's absolutely true in both energy and water. And when you have visionary leadership like the kind that I think Governor Brown is providing, look no further than the renewable energy standard. When you create that type of leadership direction from the top and create a 33% renewable requirement, the impact of that has been remarkable in California, and not only just from an environmental stewardship standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, because now not only are we well on track to exceed the goal of achieving that 33% target by 2020, we're going to beat that timetable because business and industry and creativity has rallied around that policy pronouncement and created amazing things in the economy that are driving that forward. But that also has had really good economic benefits, because one thing that has spurred is a really thriving market in California for energy efficiency technologies and services. The impact of that what we've seen now in California is that businesses, industries in California now in the aggregate are paying less for electricity than their counterparts in other states. So whereas some critics would say, well, you create that top-down policy pronouncement about renewable requirements, and that's only going to drive the cost of business up. It's a government mandate that's going to hurt business. Well, the opposite has been true. In California, we look for ways to harmonize objectives like conservation of natural resources and protection of our environment, but making that a win-win scenario with business. And by allowing the third leg of that stool, in my mind, is the incredible creativity and innovation that exists inside of California's universities, inside of the national laboratories that we have, inside of the private sector and venture capital folks and industry people that are visionary in their thinking. We have created a culture of innovation in California that takes public problems and business problems and brings them together and applies technology and ingenuity to create really positive outcomes. And I think the same is true in water as well, where we're seeing wonderful technologies develop that use software, that use all kinds of other innovations to help us just look at the entire water infrastructure system and the utilization of water in a commercial and an industrial and a residential context. And we can do things to dramatically improve the old infrastructure and the old systems that we have in California. East Bay MUD is one water agency that I know is looking forward and doing these kinds of advancements, as are other great water agencies across the state. As we use technology to improve efficiencies, we can conserve water. We can help conserve, as was stated so wonderfully in the previous panel, we can look out for our natural resources, but we also can make that cost effective for business. If we're helping business to lower their costs, if we're helping them to get the resources that they need to be successful, that's one example of how we're delivering from the state government and at the local level in partnership with business to do what business wants. They want to be in California. They want to grow in California. If we help them reduce their costs and be successful and avail themselves of great technologies, it will help them grow here as they want to do. And that helps us achieve our overall objectives, which is more jobs, a better business climate, and a growing economy in general. So I'll just conclude by saying I'm very thrilled, as I'm sure you can tell, to be in this job. And I'm very proud to be working for Governor Brown. And I'm very proud to help him in his mission to cultivate an atmosphere in California that is a win-win scenario. We can grow our economy, and we can stay true to the values that really matter about our environment and conservation. And we can do that and lead the nation and lead the world as we have. And I'm looking forward to working with folks like you, partners like the Bay Planning Coalition and the businesses that constitute its membership. It's through those collaborations and through those partnerships that we'll continue to be successful. So thank you very much for your time. And John, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.